Top of the morning to you, or afternoon or evening, whenever you may be watching. My name is Scott. I represent the SL and GameSLAM here with Mike, here with Sergio to bring you the next episode of Friday Night Rentals. We are back, people, and I am fired up today because let me tell you, for the first two episodes we've done, I had an idea of which game I was going to play prior to launching that episode. I knew I wanted to do Mega Man 64. I knew I wanted to do Kingdom Hearts. I did not know what exactly I wanted to do for the third one, but I did know which console. I knew that for today's episode I wanted to pick a game I had not played for the Super Nintendo. And so what I did is I decided, between the four potential candidates I picked out, that I would flip a coin because I did not have a chance cube in my possession. However, I did not flip this coin. I picked up this nickel, this, I don't know what president that is, this old guy, this old geezer, and I said, wait a second, there is a year on this nickel. I doubt you'll be able to see, but it is 1995. I feel like I'm in a Pawn Stars episode. And I said, I wonder, gosh darn it, if any one of these games came out in 1995, we're gonna play that game. Sure enough, there was a game, and funny enough, it was released 4 days before I was born. So you could say I was born to play, drumroll please ladies and gentlemen, Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. Look at that rating, kids to adults. I missed that rating. I also saw that the Mario Kart 64 is also rated kids to adults. But we're going to play Chrono Trigger today. And for anyone that is wondering, how has a game that is so critically acclaimed evaded my backlog, my play schedule for so long? Since 1995. The short answer is I did not have a Super Nintendo until recently. If you want more information on the journey through my gaming life and Austin's gaming life, check out the How Did GameSLAM Begin video. We go well in depth there on our journeys through the gaming world. But yes, I did not have a Super Nintendo until I believe it was episode 5 of Mission Nostalgia. If you've been following for a while, you will see when I had blonde hair, we picked up a SNES Mini, and that was when my Super Nintendo journey began. So I want to say this is for sure one of the most valuable games in my collection. And I'm going to tell you how I picked this one up. A good friend of mine, the AM in GameSLAM, gave me a good deal on this game. And he let me try it out for a little bit before I played it, or before I bought it from him. And because I only played probably a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, I was like, I want to still do a Friday night rental. I want to give a review. I want to dive in deeper than that. And it was like a year ago when I got it from him. So I doubt I really remember much about it. All I know is that, again, very critically acclaimed. Everyone says, like, potentially the best game on the console. Most people would argue top 5, top 10. And it involves time travel, which I am a big Back to the Future fan. So let's hop in the DeLorean and watch the trailer for Chrono Trigger. Trailer, intro, whatever. I've said the wrong thing before. But we're going to watch either the intro or the trailer of Chrono Trigger. Alright, people. 1995, if you saw that. There's my research. Oh, I've heard this music before. Look at those Roman numerals. Hey, there we go. 95. I think the president might have been Thomas Jefferson on that nickel. Maybe. Oh man. It's been a while since I've been in the SNES, but 16-bit, let's go. I legit chugged a Gatorade before this because I knew I'd be getting sweaty. What is this, the Phantom Zone? HPMP? That's familiar. Okay, I should be able to pick this one up in theory. Whoa. Sheesh. Shout out to whatever name that music guy was. That really fits what I'm seeing very well. That is scary. Okay. I like the frog guy. Whoa, not that frog guy. Someone got the Smash Ball and Smash Ultimate there. You know, Kevin and I have been playing Super Metroid, so I can't say I've been out of the SNES for that long. That last scene reminded me of it. Now this is some revolutionary graphic turn right there. Teasing some 64-bit, if you know what I'm saying. So we got some medieval, we got some space, we got a little Final Fantasy feel to it. We got the PK Freeze. That looks like a Final Fantasy overworld, if I've ever seen one. Oh boy. That is everything. My goodness. I'm ready. We will be back. Stay tuned. What a journey, people. What a freaking journey. I know it's got to be a little anticlimactic from your armchair because you see the build-up from me and then I pop right back here and there's none of the gameplay until we start breaking it down. But for me, it has been quite a long time, both in elapsed time and gameplay. So, gosh, it's been about 5 weeks-ish since I filmed that first teaser, trailer, whatever it was, flip that nickel and pick the game. And in gameplay time, I broke my 4-hour rule. I spent a little bit more time, closer to 7.5 hours, and here we go. And the reason I used the word journey when I said what a journey is because my feelings and my rankings of this game have sort of changed from that 2-hour mark to 4-hour mark to where I sit today, 7 hours deep in the game. And let's get into why. So first of all, as always, we gotta start with the story. Chrono Trigger, what is going on here? What you need to know, people, is the mission involved time travel, alright? And strap on your seatbelts because I did not prepare for this, I do not have any sort of notes, and I'm going to try to break down what happens in this story. So you are a character named Chrono. You wield a sword, and you are going through the land in sort of a Final Fantasy-esque manner, and I'll get way more into the gameplay later. You meet up with Marley, the princess at the time, in the year 1000 AD. While you're hanging out with her at the county fair, a scientist named Luca, who is friends with Chrono, has a science experiment at the fair that's supposed to let you teleport from one tower to another. It, in turn, has a reaction with Marley's necklace and creates a time portal. And you go into, it's either like 400 or 600 AD. So you go like 400 to 500 years in the past. And in the past, Marley looks just like the princess of that time, her great-great-great no good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandmother, and there's confusion of you trying to kidnap the princess, and also that princess is in trouble. So that's the first time travel, is from 1000 AD to, we'll call it 600 AD. And then what happens is you encounter, his name is Frog, and Frog is one of the coolest side characters in the game. Frog helps you rescue the actual princess of the time, and then you go back to 1000 AD. However, you find out that the technology Luca used in her county fair trick, it works for multiple realms of time, and you're wondering, why would you want to be time hopping? Well, while you're trying to rescue that first princess, and I'm blanking on if it was the actual princess or if it was Marley, the king's squire chases you to the corner because he doesn't believe you're actually trying to help the princess. He thinks you're trying to kidnap the princess. And so you jump into another portal and you go years into the future. It's like 23 million AD, post-apocalyptic. So what happened between 1000 AD to get the world to an apocalypse? So you start digging around, you go through some factories, and you meet up with a new friend called Robo. He is a robot. And you find out by watching this video clip that this villain, this evil force named Lavos, destroyed the world. So what are we going to do about this? All right. What we figure out is that there is a villain behind the villain. Before Lavos, there was a villain named Magus, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, but Magus is the one who created Lavos, and Magus is from 600 AD. And we know how to get there now. So this is where the timelines start to connect. We formulate this plan that Chrono, Luca, Marley, and Robo are going to go to the past, and they're going to stop Magus so that they can save the future world. In terms of the gameplay, I alluded to Final Fantasy. The game was made by Square, so this is no plagiarism. This is the same cooks in the same kitchen. I guess it's the same cooks working in a different kitchen, this being the Chrono Trigger kitchen. So as you familiarize yourself, just like a Final Fantasy game, or in our last video we broke down Kingdom Hearts, we've got HP, we've got MP. And I felt very comfortable in that style of game. So we're basically into things I like. What I liked about it is, as I learned the characters' strengths and weaknesses, I also got a feel for the cadence of the battles, because as you're taking damage and your bar is loading up before you can choose your next decision of attacking using magic or using an item, I got more comfortable with what I was going to do and strategizing in real time, because it's not like Pokemon where you can sit there and think and think and think, but it's also not like Kingdom Hearts where you have to actually be clicking the buttons to be swinging your sword and shooting your lightnings and your ice blasts. You have to just know what you're going to click in real time as you take that damage. And I found it to be very smooth in that aspect. The game never felt grindy to me, even though you are in a lot of those similar turn-based real-time battles. It really, really felt smooth to me from that standpoint. Another thing I like, and yes, the majority are going to be things I liked, was, I said it in the last video too, the mystery, all right? I still don't know how this one's gonna end. I've heard some things, which that's the most general statement ever, but one thing I wanted to add about the story that has not been uncovered to me, so I'm not even shielding this, it has not been uncovered, is in the 680 timeline, the people in the towns continue to mention a hero named Cyrus. So when I just got the sword, they mentioned that no one had been there to get the sword since Cyrus. So it's like, where does this guy fit in? Is he related to Chrono at all? I actually don't know. But I really like that mystery as you project out what is going to happen as this game continues. And another thing, while I'm just thinking about it, is I really liked not only the turn-based style of those battles, but also with the open worlds in general. You get a sense of community, which is really cool. And there are even some events from certain timelines that if you go to the same house years later, things will happen depending on what you do in the former timeline or the future timeline. And I like that because I never really felt stuck on what to do or where to get items. You get into a routine of healing up at the inn, stocking up at items at the market, and they just look a little different depending on which timeline you're in. Touching on the story from just a little different perspective, because we went right to the facts, right? I wanted to let you guys know what was going on. Another thing I really like about the story, besides just how unique it is you really do build an emotional connection with the members on your team and the people who join up with you. So when you meet up with Frog, for example, he really just wants to save and protect the princess. And when she is kidnapped, he feels like a failure. And Robo, when you meet up with him, there are other robots like him who tell him that he is defective, that he has malfunctioned, and that the fact that he has feelings and wants to help and not just destroy humans, that he is an oddball. And when you go through these dilemmas of the characters, you start to connect with them, and also I think it fills a void of Chrono, because since you play from the perspective of Chrono, you don't necessarily, at least from my part of the game, there might be some different parts, it's very first person. So to have the emotions of your side characters, it made it a very cool experience for you to progress and sort of pave your own way as Chrono. One underrated feature in this game that I want to actually spend some time on, because I find it to be somewhat revolutionary for a 1995 game. Taking a step back, I think a lot of people maybe not have had a complaint per se, but they've had this request for Nintendo with Pokemon games. Can we get an easy, medium, and difficulty? Can we get an easy, medium, and hard? That's a better way to say it. And in Chrono Trigger, you kind of get to choose your own adventure and choose your own difficulty depending on the timelines you go to. I hopped in the prehistoric timeline just to see what was going on, and there were these dinosaurs that were way stronger than I could take on. I was able to take on the few that were in front of me and get back to the end of time, but I was like, that is really cool, because if I wanted to do a more difficult path to Magus, maybe I could go to this prehistoric timeline first, and as an experienced player could get this different kind of playthrough that I wouldn't get going through the standard route. So I found that very, very unique. I can't think of another game at the time that had so much freedom to create your own story, just a blank but beautiful canvas that you could just pour into it whatever colors you wanted. And while I look at just the beauty of the game, we have to get to the last but also potentially most important thing that I liked about the game: the soundtrack. Oh my gosh, the soundtrack is amazing in this game. I had listened to it at length prior to playing the game, just because it's It's really good music, and it's, if you're looking for just instrumental music to have on while you're studying or working, it's a great score. But, you know, I brought up the point that I never felt like I was really grinding in this game, and I think a big part of that was the soundtrack. As you go through these battles, both the battles just on the way to the bosses, as well as the bosses themselves, you're hearing such great music that it fires you up. And when you get those emotional stories, like I talked about with Frog and Robo, you have this very soothing, heart-wrenching music that just draws you in. And I can't picture the music without the game, and I also can't picture the game without the music. They complement each other perfectly. Square, you guys knocked it out of the park with that one. I was really blown away, and let's call it how it is. It's part of the reason I played an extra couple hours, was because I was just feeling those grooves, man. So to get to the things I don't like about the game, or didn't like as much, it's a short list, people. There's not much. It was, by and large, a phenomenal game, and these things didn't even really take away from it. I just, as a objective journalist, I have to maintain my integrity and tell you these things. So the first thing that came to my mind was, again, very minor, but as your character learns new technical abilities, so you get both experience to level up, you get more strength, HP, power, defense, magic, you also get technical points, which in turn give you new abilities to use techniques, which are different sword techniques and weapon techniques, as well as magic attacks. And the reason I bring that up as a thing that I don't like, it's not that I didn't like the technical points, it's just that you only were really able to figure out what those techniques and magic attacks did in battle. You kind of had to do a live case study. It would have been nice to just get a little description of, okay, ice does this amount of damage and takes this much MP. And Chrono was actually the only one you kind of did get a tutorial with his Cyclone attack and his Slash attack, which were baller, by the way. Different combinations depending on where the enemy units were lined up. But if I could have just got that description and not had to figure out what those attacks did through the gameplay, that would have made it just a hair smoother. And the second and final thing that I don't like as much about the game, I will just say, keep your guns in your holsters in the comments, because it is probably something that if I continue to play the game, all would be revealed to me, and I would not even have this critique, right? But it's just one minor thing in the story, and I alluded to it before, but it's just that you don't really get that like emotional connection or backstory to Chrono, and you might later in the game, so that's why I hesitate so much to say that, but that was the one piece that it's like, I have this amazing quest that I'm going on, I have these really cool, really in-depth side characters who are joining me, but as Chrono, I'm just like this spiky-haired dude who's really skilled with the sword, who's just kind of like along for the ride. So that's the one thing. I think it created a little bit of slowness to the start of the game, and that's why I'll say it's a minor critique that turned into a net positive, because we'll just spin it to the conclusion here of my thoughts on the game, which is that I enjoyed this game more every hour I put into it. I never felt like I was grinding. I never felt like I was lost. And as the story continued to add another wrinkle, and I also became more confident and comfortable with the cadence of those battling sequences, I enjoyed the game more. And that's why I played 7 hours instead of 4, was because at like 2 hours, I was like, this game might be a try. And then at 4 hours, I was like, this game, I'm leaning more towards a buy. I think I need to play a little bit more to give it justice, because I've heard so many great things about it. So I played a 5th hour and a 6th hour and a 7th hour, and I kept liking the game more. So yes, people, it's a clear buy. It's a clear buy. You millennials with your SNES classics will not have the game on there, so you will have to have the SNES copy. And I do want to make one thing clear about the show here, which is that when we give these rankings of buy, try, or why, we're not necessarily factoring in the price range. It's more of, if you could put yourself in that time machine, be in the year the game came out, would you buy it, would you try it, or would you tell someone, don't try that game's terrible? So I give Chrono Trigger a strong buy recommendation, especially if you're into turn-based games. But in general, even if you're not someone who has a Final Fantasy background like myself, or Kingdom Hearts, or Fire Emblem, Advanced Wars, those are just a couple that pop in my head that if you like those, you would instantly like this game. But hear me out, even if you're not one of those people. I really think between the story, the time uniqueness of the plot, this is a game that is unique enough and revolutionary enough that I think this could hit any audience. I really think that even if you're an action-adventure gamer, this story would envelop you, because it doesn't feel like you're grinding, like I said, to continue and see how the events unfold. So with that, people, I hope you enjoyed this video today. I hope you try this game. I hope you buy this game if you don't have it already. It's not a cheap one. It is perhaps my most expensive game, but now I understand why. You know, that there's so much to this, and gosh darn it, there's still a lot more that I have left to play. But that's why I like doing this series, is because I get to try out the games that I have not played before, and I get to kind of set them into these silos of, yes, I want to finish that game. This one, I'll pick it up again, but maybe not finish it. And then other games where I'm just like, yeah, that's gonna stay in the collection, but like I'm not really planning on doing a full playthrough. Chrono Trigger, strongly, firmly in the buy category, and we're gonna finish that game. So with that, thank you guys for watching today. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a thumbs up down below. And I want to get some more interaction in the comments. So I just want to hear, if you have played Chrono Trigger, what was your favorite part of the game? And perhaps your favorite, I don't know if song is the right word, but like favorite musical sequence. I think the forest is going to be a pretty common one. I really enjoyed the boss battle music. Like, it got these pits real sweaty. It was some good battle music. So let me know your favorite Chrono Trigger song, and if you have not played the game, let me know your favorite video game soundtrack. Let's get some musical juices flowing in those comments. So with that, we're gonna get the heck out of here. GameSLAM signing off.